Hi guys, it's Sam here with Bargain Hunting Blonde, and today I'm here to answer your questions about eBay Authenticate. So before we get into this video, I wanted to say this video is not at all sponsored. eBay has no idea that I'm making this video. I'm just here sharing my experience with eBay Authenticate and kind of explaining what it is, because I know I've gotten a lot of questions recently because I've been posting different deals from eBay, especially in the Hermes realm. And I know if we're spending that much money, we do not want a fake handbag. So let's dive into what eBay Authenticate is. So eBay Authenticate is a program that eBay now has allowed sellers to use, and it allows the seller to put on their listing that their item is authentic, and it will be authenticated in person by eBay. So that means that when you buy one of these authentic listings, which they say it in the listing, so I'll put up a picture of what it says, and then also they've just recently added in the second picture and like the slide of pictures, this image, which means that the item is going to be authenticated by eBay. And so what they do is when you purchase the item, instead of being shipped directly to you, is shipped to the authentication facility, which at least for me, shopping on the West Coast, that is in Vegas, or I think it's technically Henderson, Nevada, but like very close to Las Vegas. And so the item goes there. They then spend a couple days authenticating the item in person, which I think is really great because pictures can only do so much. Like, I'm very much a fan of authenticating via photos if that's your option, like at least do that for an item, but it's great that they're looking at the item in person. And then they make sure not only is the item authentic, they make sure that it matches the description, and they really check over the item to make sure it didn't get damaged in transit or anything like that. So they then put their own tag on the item, and then from that facility, which I'm not sure if there's more than one in the US, but that's the facility all mine have gone to, they then send it out to you. So the process makes it a lot less stressful as a consumer buying high-end luxury goods on eBay, but that's only for the items that have clearly marked that they are part of this authentication program. So it's not going to be for any luxury good you are buying on eBay. Only certain sellers do it, and they can choose, I believe, to or not to, because I do think it takes a portion potentially of what they're getting from the sale. Like, they pay a fee for eBay to do it. And if they're not paying a fee now, I would imagine in the future eBay would require everyone to pay a fee. But it does allow us as the consumer and the buyer to feel a lot safer with the items we're purchasing. So I do want to tell a little bit of a story, which I actually think is a really good one and shows to me that this process works, about an item I did purchase. I will put a picture up on the screen. It is, or was, I never ended up getting it, but I'll explain, a Hermes Kelly in the 32 in the Soleil color, which is like a sun, like it's a yellow, but it's a brown yellow, and I had found it for a really good deal. It was under $5,000 because at the time eBay was having a coupon, which is great when they have coupons, or when sellers decide to, have a 15% off or something like that. Always take advantage of that on eBay. And so I purchased it. It was from a Japanese seller that I had not purchased from before, but had lots of sales. All they sell was luxury authentic goods, stuff like that. And so it got shipped from Japan to the authentication center in Nevada. And as they were working and looking at it, they actually emailed me and said, hey, this isn't up to our standards. It does not match the description of the item, which I thought was amazing, that they not only were looking at the authenticity of the item, but also the description of what the seller had said, and it was not up there to their standards. So they were going to refund me, and they were not going to send me the item. Granted, that process does take a little bit. I think that was probably a week and a half, 2 weeks after I'd purchased the item, but I really appreciated that not only were they looking at authenticity, they were looking at the description and how the item looked when they actually got it physically in their authentication warehouse department. I don't exactly know their setup. And so they emailed me immediately that it was not meeting their standards, it was going back to the seller, and that they were going to refund me. They then refunded me to my payment method. And that was it. I never had to deal with opening a case or saying that the item I was purchasing was not authentic. I didn't have to, worry about authenticating it on my own, because they had already done that, and it wasn't even going to get to me because it wasn't up to their standards. And they email you and they tell you that. And so I really appreciated that from eBay. I liked that open line of communication, and it made me feel very confident in buying items that are going through that authentication process. So Pros for me. One, it's an authentication you do not have to pay for. I still authenticate things again when I get them because I'm crazy and I have just heard horror stories, and I have been part of my own horror story from the real, and I just don't want a fake bag when I'm paying that much money. Two, pro is that not only are they checking authentication, they're also checking the description of the item is coming with everything it's supposed to be coming with, that the description's accurate, that there's not been maybe work done to the bag, which is actually what I suspect happened in this case. I think there had been maybe some color correction done on the bag that was not disclosed, and hence, the lower price point. And so they noticed that when they saw the bag in person, and I didn't have to deal with that when I got the bag. Of course, that's completely up to the buyer if they care about color correction or not. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But Hermes will not spa your bag if there has been any third-party work done to it. So keep that in mind. And then 3, for me, is it's really allowing me to kind of like sort what sellers I want to use on eBay and not use on eBay based on if they use the authentication program. I really appreciate it. I think it's worth it. And it's really helped me see like sellers that I want to continue buying from. So it gives me like buyer confidence in sellers, which I like. I think for me, the biggest con is that is now, instead of getting your item from Japan through DHL in like 3 to 4 days, which is how it used to be, you're now looking at about roughly 2 weeks. And they do estimate for you when you're going to be getting the item with the authentication service, so you know. But if you're looking for something to get to you like quickly and you were ordering it, on Monday and you really wanted it for the weekend, it's not going to happen with the Authenticate program. It takes too long. But I think, you're weighing taking a little longer versus knowing that it's been authenticated in person, which is really great because fakes are getting to the point where sometimes even with the picture authentication services, I do think they can slip through. And I think as someone who loves to buy pre-loved goods or goods on the resale market, that's something we have to be aware of. And this does give me confidence in eBay. And as you guys know, I have been shopping on eBay for a long time. Things have definitely changed in the eBay realm for good and for bad. And I think this is a for good, at least for the buyer. But if you guys have any more questions about the eBay Authenticate program, please let me know down below in the comment box. I'd love to answer your questions if I know. If you don't want to leave it as a comment, please feel free to DM me on Instagram, which is linked down below. I love talking with you guys on there, and I can share more of my knowledge from this program. But I really do think it's a positive, and I really think that it's another way to give us a little bit of confidence in finding those great deals on eBay and then also them being authenticated. So thank you so much for tuning in today's video, guys. Please hit the subscribe button because I will be putting out 1 video a week. I'm down to 1 instead of 2. Just life is not allowing me at the moment to do 2. But if you want to see more of my content, please make sure to follow me on Facebook, Instagram, my blog, all of which are linked down below. Thank you so much for tuning in today, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye, guys.